Welcome back to What's Now. How is the pandemic affecting children's health? Well, there are many ways, but especially with their eyesight as they are learning and spending more time on screens. I had a great conversation about this and some good advice for parents. Let's take a look.
How is this pandemic shaping the health of our children? Well, experts say with school in session and children forced to spend more time in front of digital devices, nearsightedness is among school-age children is on the rise. Right now, the National Association of School Nurses is teaming up with Dr. Rupa Wong to provide tips to create a healthier learning environment and share advice on how to safeguard our children's vision. Joining us today is Donna Mazyck, Executive Director of the National Association of School Nurses, as well as Dr. Wong. Thank you both for joining us today.
Good to be here.
Thank you for having us.
So we know that school nurses play a big role in the health of children and families, especially when it comes to creating safe environments for learning. What are some new school protocols for students and for students learning virtually? And what are some tips for parents and caregivers to recreate safe and healthy learning practices at home?
Well, school nurses are prioritizing health and safety for all students, whether they are learning in person at school or they are learning virtually at home. And so part of that prioritizing their health and safety is making sure that all students have the vaccinations up to date that will keep them healthy and safe. And that includes getting an annual flu vaccine. In addition, making sure that preventive health visits or wellness visits that may have been missed during the spring and summer when the pandemic closed offices or just other issues were involved and families didn't get their children to those visits, it's a good time to catch up on those. And a visit to a pediatrician with vision checks can determine if referrals are needed for more in-depth, comprehensive eye exams.
And how are school nurses continuing to help parents and caregivers, even if students are learning virtually?
A good question. As students are learning virtually, school nurses are still in touch with families and giving them helpful hints and answering questions. And some of the helpful hints are making sure that that physical environment is conducive to learning. So good lighting, a device that this child is using that's far enough away from their eyes that they're not straining, and also making sure, to the extent possible, that children are keeping good posture so that they're not straining the muscles in their neck.
And school safety protocols are calling for increased screen time and distance learning, and that can put a strain on students' eyes. What are some signs and symptoms that parents and caregivers should be looking out for when it comes to students' eye health?
So kids may not always complain exactly of blurry visions. Parents really have to pay attention to the behaviors of their children. They may report headaches or feel eye strain or eye fatigue. They may squint or even rub their eyes. Some children close one eye or adopt an abnormal head posture so that they can see more clearly. So those are some of the signs and symptoms that might indicate that there's a vision disorder at place.
And what are 3 at-home vision tests and tips for myopia that parents can do specifically?
So, nothing replaces a comprehensive eye examination with your eye doctor, but there are a couple things that parents can do to figure out if their child is nearsighted. First is an amazing resource. It's a website. It's coopervision.com, and I tell my patients' parents about it. The first thing that they have is a myopia or nearsightedness simulator. So if a parent isn't nearsighted, they might not understand what the world looks like from their child's perspective. And this myopia simulator will show you what it does when it, has a little photograph of a picture of a classroom, and a child can be able to see what it is like for their nearsightedness. The second thing that they have is a myopia quiz. So it's just 6 questions, very quick, and it assesses the likelihood that a child might develop nearsightedness. And then a really simple one that anybody can do at home is they stand 20 feet away from a microwave with their child. And the digital display, that's about 20/20 on an eye chart. So test each child's eye individually and see if they're having any difficulty reading those numbers. that might indicate that they have a vision problem like nearsightedness or astigmatism. And, you know, as a mom of 3 children who are currently doing distance learning and a pediatric ophthalmologist, I'm really excited that finally I get to offer my patients' parents an option for slowing nearsightedness down. It's a new contact lens. It's the only FDA-approved contact lens to slow nearsightedness down in children when they start treatment between the ages of 8 through 12, and it's called MySight. So I'm excited that I get to offer that finally for parents, because usually I have to just say, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. The glasses will just get worse every year.
And because school closed early last year, could some students be behind on their yearly eye screenings? And what are some of the latest scientific and technological developments that are helping children with their eyesight beyond what you've mentioned?
So, I mean, that's something that we've definitely seen. I think there's been a lot of fear for parents to go in to just anywhere, doctor's offices in particular. A lot of us eye doctors had to close our practices for March and April months, so we're behind on being able to check children as well. So it's really important to get children in for their annual eye exams to make sure if they've got a vision condition that they are being seen regularly. And then we have so much now that's available in terms of simulating myopia, like I mentioned on for the website, or the quizzes that we can take to assess if a child might become nearsighted. So it's a lot of technological advances, and specifically with this contact lens, which is exciting.
And where can we get more information about all of this?
So all of this is available online at www.coopervision.com, and there you can see the myopia simulator and the quiz. And there's also a database where you can find an ophthalmologist or an optometrist that's certified in this MySight contact lens, so that if you are interested to know if your child's nearsightedness would be appropriate for it.
Well, Dr. Rupa Wong and Donna Mazyck, thank you so much for joining us today and talking about this important issue here on Park City Television.